Welcome to episode 105 of the Toadstool Boardroom for the week of September 12th, 2024. My name's Logan Plant. I'm joined this week just by Chris Shriver. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going, bud?
Justin's burning the midnight oil tonight. He can't join us. And then Chris is gone next week. We were just talking about it. Justin's gone the week after that. So we got a lot of intimate fireside chats in the boardroom coming your way. Maybe we'll line some guests up to fill the empty slot. Who knows? But we're not super prone to do that all the time on this show.
Watch. This is when they'll announce the next Nintendo console. It'll be in this 2-week span, and then we'll have to
It really could be.
We have to
really
rush it
could
together.
be.
They won't do it for Zelda.
No, I think it'll be in October.
Yeah,
I do. I think it'll be like 2 weeks after Zelda, a week before Mario Party.
Yep.
Is what I would put my money on. I think it's coming. I really do. I think it's happening in the next few weeks. I think the timing of that Nintendo Direct, I didn't really talk about this because I missed that week of the show, but the timing of the partner showcase plus Indie World at the end of August felt like they were getting all of their commitments out of the way of these announcements they had to make with their partners in August so they could just clear the deck to make this big announcement come October. And then I know people are going to come out and say, oh, they're going to destroy their holiday sales if they do that. I don't really think so. If right now there's some rumors that they're about to announce a bunch of holiday bundles, if those are pretty enticing bundles, but they still announce the next console this month and they say, hey, it's backwards compatible with all the Switch games you're building up now, I think their holiday sales will be fine. So I think it's coming. Do you think it's coming in the next couple months, or do you think they're waiting until next year?
I mean, I think the announcement or the actual console?
The announcement.
I think the announcement will be October.
Yeah.
If it's not by Halloween, I don't think we'll see it until February. I don't think they would show it that early in the new year because people are getting ramped back into the swing of things, and that's a lot for people to take in.
And you can't get rid of the hype cycle for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
I mean that has to have its own month alone. People are clamoring,
it's such a big release,
chomping at the bit for it.
Yeah. We're both going to buy that game.
I already pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I did too, through that Best Buy thing that you shouted out. Yeah, I got it for free, essentially. So that was great. That was a great deal that was going on. Okay, let's get into our show for this week. We are going to talk about the weirdest things Nintendo has done this generation. And that's a topic inspired by some really weird things one of the other guys has been doing the last couple of weeks, PlayStation specifically. We'll get into all that. We're going to talk about this weekend is the Splatoon 3 Grand Festival. I'm so psyched, Chris. I think it's going to be super fun. I love what they're doing. I have a lot to say about that. But let's start with Super Mario Party Jamboree. I got to play it at the same preview event I went to a couple weeks ago where I played The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. You can go check out my preview for that live now on IGN. There's a written and a video version. And I really liked it. I had a great time with Super Mario Party Jamboree, coming from someone who's been very jaded by the series for a long time, with the exception of Mario Party Superstars in 2021, which was an incredible kind of greatest hits album of Mario Party, the N64 and GameCube eras specifically. And now this, Chris, I think has a chance to be Nintendo Cube, recently renamed from ND Cube. I don't know if you caught that. That was very random and out of nowhere. But I think it has a chance to be their best original Mario Party that they've made. They took over the series with Mario Party 9 and 10, infamously bad Mario Party games. They toyed around on the 3DS with some spin-offs that never really worked. Super Mario Party was a step in the right direction that at the time I was like, wow, this is a great game. And now that we have Superstars, I look at Super and I never want to play that game again. And I'm hoping that Jamboree can be their best new entry in the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think when Super Mario Party came out, it was good because it was different. And at the time, and I don't think there was another Switch Mario Party at that point. That was the first one that we had gotten. Yeah, and after the letdown of 9 and 10, it was kind of a breath of fresh air, like you said. This one, I'm torn. And people have heard me complain about this on the show, but I'm kind of at a point with the Switch where I'm pretty sick of Joy-Con generally, and I do want to ask about that because my understanding is that this game is mini games in this game are solely focused around the fact that you are playing with a singular Joy-Con rather than a Pro Controller or insert controller that isn't a Joy-Con here for the Switch because it's so versatile. And
Chris, you're about to be very happy because that is not the case at all.
Really?
That is not it. Yeah, this game, my entire preview session was with a Pro Controller.
No
I played
way.
the entire hour and a half with a Pro Controller, and I talked to them about it, and basically, remember the microphone mini games from the GameCube era? And if you didn't have the mic plugged in, those mini games were just out of the rotation. That's the case here. If you are playing with Pro Controllers, the Joy-Con specific mini games just aren't in the rotation. They won't show up. So you don't have to play with them. I don't know how many there are. I do not know what percentage of the 112 mini games are made up by Joy-Con specific motion control mini games, but I played probably 15 to 20 mini games that were all really, really good and no motion controls at all. So yeah, I think that you'll actually really like this Mario Party because that's completely optional.
It's not 112 new mini games, is it?
It is not. There's 112 total, and so far we know about 10 returning minigames. I'm not sure if there's going to be more than that, but there's Granite Getaway, which is one of the returning ones I played, where you're running away from a boulder like Indiana Jones in the opening scene of that movie. That one's back. There's the one where three players are in monkey balls on a conveyor belt running around in a circle, and one person has a crane and is trying to grab them all. That's another returning one from the GameCube ones. And I think Bumper Balls is back like it always is. So yeah, there's some returning ones, but some new ones too. And the new ones I played were really, really good. They were super fun. There was one called Sandwiched where you're standing in this picnic basket, and these finger sandwiches, these square sandwiches start to fall from the sky, and you can see the shadow of where they're going to land, and you just have to avoid them from crushing you, like Booksquirmed, the Mario Party 4 minigame. Sure. And then it's kind of an added layer from Booksquirm, because instead of just running around waiting for the next page to fall, you also have to be strategically climbing the tower of sandwiches so you don't get left behind, and eventually you can't climb up anymore and you'll get crushed by one and you're trapped. So really solid minigame there. There were some logic minigames I played too, where basically you're trying to create this path across this gap of lava, and everyone starts on the left side and is moving over to the right side. And 4 puzzle pieces appear on the screen, and they're Tetris-shaped blocks. Like, oh, this one is the full 3x3 grid. This one is just a straight line down the middle. This one's a little L shape, and you all secretly pick which block you want to choose. And then it reveals who picked what. And if you picked the same one as somebody else, nobody gets that piece. So you have to, it's a mind game where you don't want to just go for the best piece, because surely someone else is going to go for the best piece, and then neither of you will move. But then there were plenty of times where 2 of us picked the same piece, 2 of us picked a different piece, and no one picked the best piece, and nobody moved. So it's this fun kind of mind game thing to see who can create this bridge the fastest. So really solid mini games. Felt like classic N64 and GameCube Mario Party. I'm super, super enthusiastic about pretty much every minigame I played.
That's great. I did see that the roster, I don't know if you call it leaked, but the roster did make its way to Twitter. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Where is Blooper and where is Dry Bones?
Dry Bones is the sticking point for me, man. My girlfriend's favorite video game character is Dry Bones. She picks him in Mario Kart every time, and I was hoping, because of how big this roster would be, he'd be there, but he's not. There's 22 playable characters. I think there's 30 total in the Mario Party series history. I was looking into this. So there's only 8 characters that haven't made it into this game, and it's, like you said, Blooper, Dry Bones, Hammer Bro, Kamek, the me from Mario Party 8 that you could be, and then Koopa Kid, which, by the way, we should do an episode about Koopa Kid sometime.
The lost history of Koopa Kid.
Yeah, he existed in a very brief window of time and now has been wiped off the face of the earth and replaced by Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings. But I love Koopa Kid. I loved him in Mario Party 5, and I'd love to see them bring him back for just the Mario Party series. That's kind of all he's really known for. So it'd be fun
I don't
if they
think he ever showed up anywhere else. It was mainly...
Yeah, is it really just Mario Party?
Maybe. But it was a weird time, because it was like... Yeah. Remember in the 5th one, they had those 3... There were 3 different colored Koopa Kids.
Yep,
and then it was
the
like,
red, blue, and green one.
Yeah. Like, why is this happening? What's the ancestry, the Bowser family tree look like with these guys? It was weird.
Yeah, because originally they're called Baby Bowser in Mario Party on N64. And then they're renamed Koopa Kid in the GameCube era of Mario Party, and he's playable in Mario Party 5 and Mario Party 6. I'm looking, that's it. Yeah, it is just the Mario Party series.
Sunshine
Koopa
really
Kid is not in anything else. Sorry, what was that?
I said Sunshine really threw him for a loop. Once that game came out, it was like...
It was over.
Bowser Jr. all the time.
Yeah. Are you a Bowser Jr. fan? Do you like
I
him?
am. I like Bowser Jr. a lot. I think he's a good concession prize for the loss of the Koopa Kids for as long as we did lose them for. There was like a good 15-year stretch where we just didn't see the Koopalings. Or the Koopalings is what I meant. Until Mario Party 8 really. Or Mario Kart 8. No, I think he's fine.
Now they're in everything.
I'm
surprised they're not in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really thought that they would be this time around, but no, they didn't make it. But back to Mario Party Jamboree, I also got to try out a board. We played on Mega Wiggler's Tree Party, which seems like kind of the opening board of the game. It's in this forest, and there's a giant Wiggler in the middle of the map, and when you land on a happening space, the Wiggler rotates positions, and it completely changes the path to the star. And there's also an item they sell in the item shop, which is a Wiggler bell, so you can choose when you want to move it if you buy that item and use it. So it's a cool mechanic. I liked seeing that board-specific items are back, because that's something they used to do a lot that we haven't seen in a really long time. So I really like that. And then it was classic. I was 3 spaces away from the star and landed on the happening space to move the Wiggler. And it was Jeff Grubb from Giant Bomb, who I was playing with in the preview event. He was playing as Goomba, and he's standing on the head of the Wiggler, and he shifts, and then he snipes the star right from me on his next turn. It's just like, it's going to lead to those very classic Mario Party moments where you can kind of plan out your turns, but something's going to happen that's going to mess it up. And I just really, really enjoyed that. And the boards in Super Mario Party are frankly terrible. They are tiny, no alternate paths.
There's really only like one that I play in that game whenever I play.
Which one?
It's the
last gold one?
The haunted one. Oh, I'm sorry, Super Mario Party. Those boards are all very bad. I couldn't even really I remember the gold one, and I remember like the ruins, whatever that one is.
Those are the only 2 I remember also. There's the fruit one where there's 4 different islands of fruit. Yeah, it's not good.
No.
Yeah. So these boards feel much bigger and much more akin to,
there's more,
I'd say, a GameCube, a Mario Party 4 to 5-ish era board.
Oh, yeah.
Really solid.
That's golden era Mario Party for me. I know a lot of people don't like those games, but those are the ones I definitely played the most by myself. But
wait, you played Mario Party by yourself?
100%. That was like,
nice.
I got those every year for Christmas when they were cranking those out on the GameCube, and my siblings didn't want to play with me. Like, I was just playing against the computer day in and day out. All Christmas.
Mario Party's so good.
It's great.
It's so great. What's your favorite Mario Party?
It might be 4. 4 is the one I've played the most, for sure.
Okay.
But usually people want to crucify me whenever I say that. Like, it's just...
I'm not a big 4
I don't know why.
fan.
I think that game's great.
I really like some of the mini games, like Dungeon Duos is from Mario Party 4, and that is an all-time classic. Yeah. I adore that game.
Great.
I think my favorite Mario Party is Superstars. I think that I love that.
I feel like that's kind of unfair, though. Like, I would say Superstars is like, that's like saying your favorite Elton John album is Elton John's greatest hits. Like, of course.
Okay, if I had to pick one besides that, I really like 2 and 7 are the ones that jump to my mind first. 2 is just that.
A lot of 2.
It's so good. They dress up in different costumes on the different boards, and it just has the greatest mini games, and it introduces duels and battles and all this, and items. Items aren't even in Mario Party 1. Not until 2 could you buy items from a shop and use them. So 2, I just feel like, is the classic, and then 7 is the cruise ship one on the GameCube, the last one on the GameCube, and has really, really good boards like Pagoda Peak or Neon Heights, which has a baseball field with a baseball mini game, which is really, really fun.
Yeah.
So 2 and 7 are the best.
What's great about
Superstars is so good.
Well, and it fixes, like, Mario Party 1 really doesn't control well, but it has a lot of really great mini games in it, and you actually get to play them because in 1, like, they control so badly. Yeah,
and I don't know what happened that night. The 4 of us tried to play Mario Party Superstars.
Oh, I know exactly what can tell you, or what happened that night.
What happened?
Odell was in an Uber playing from his phone. That's why it was so bad.
Is that what was happening?
Yeah, he was in an Uber. And, like, they were driving around, and he's like, the connection's not great. I was like, no kidding. Like, you're driving around.
5G. Yeah. I played Superstars online earlier this week against my parents and my sister. We played on the Haunted Boo board, and it 0 lag, 0 drops, just perfect. It ran perfectly. Yeah, it was great. I won on the Haunted Boo board. It was awesome. I was, who was I? I was Birdo, because I love that Birdo is in that game. So
nice.
Yeah. Any other questions about Jamboree, though?
I don't believe so. No. I'm excited.
Oh, we were talking about the roster. We can circle back to that for a second. Yeah,
sure.
There's 22 playable characters, and we already knew this. People were passing around this image on Twitter like it was a secret that wasn't supposed to leak from the demo. No, we already knew that this was the roster. I guess that they're kind of showing us this is the full roster, but you never know. They could always slide icons over, add more, add another menu. You never know. Like Super Smash Bros. For 3DS has that hideous extra fighters tab that you have to go and click to get to the DLC characters. I don't know why that's the example that came to my head, but it just is. So you never know. They could always add more characters, but the roster is really, really big. It's a crime that Diddy Kong, once again, is missing. He's not really a Mario Party character. He's only in Super Mario Party, but come on, when are we going to respect this guy? When are we going to give him the credit he deserves?
Yeah, like I don't get why it's like, well, if Mercury's in Taurus and like if it's a Sunday, then we'll decide to put Diddy Kong in a Mario game. Like I don't get what the criteria is, but it's not like people don't like him or get excited when he's there. It's not like people get upset when he's there either. Like, just put him in the game. I don't know. I get that it's time and money. Like, I want him there.
Yeah. It can't be that hard. I'm sorry. I know I'm not a game developer. I think making games is really hard. Let's be real. It can't be that hard to put Diddy Kong in Mario Party. Instead, you have Monty Mole. Who is picking Monty Mole as their main character?
My groomsman. One of my groomsmen plays Monty Mole every time. Every time we play that game. Because he thinks he's just so stout and dumb.
Yeah, okay, I take it back. I do love Monty Mole. I think it's funny he's there. But a classic like Diddy Kong missing is a crime. And then you got Koopa Troopa, but not Dry Bones. That's got to be they're the same exact skeleton, literally. It would be super nice.
You know what more games need to do? This is somewhat off topic. The Simpsons Road Rage had this thing where this is an older Crazy Taxi clone, for those that don't know what this is. But it had this feature where, depending on the date, you would get random characters that had like different costumes. So like they should set it up where on Halloween, Koopa Troopa looks like Dry Bones, and it's the only time he looks like that. Give me that at a minimum, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, that is. I'd rather just have them all the time, but I mean, I can also just do it on Halloween.
But that would be fun. Yeah. Like, so you pop it open, oh my god, Dry Bones is here, and then he's gone.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And then people would figure out how to hack it, so you could get them all the time. It'd be great. But I'm super excited about Jamboree. I loved what I played. I did also try out the Battle Royale 20-player online modes. Not good. Didn't really vibe with those very much at all.
Yeah. I don't know why we keep trying to do this. You know, didn't you say that was the worst part of Monkey Ball too? Like,
yeah, hands down, not even close.
Yeah.
It's just like this is totally we should, but this is coming out in October. They don't have a big online game coming out. Splatoon is seemingly wrapping up its content, so they got to have some reason to get people to re-up their Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions. This game comes with 3 months of Switch Online if you buy it, and there you go.
Well, it's September is the month, right? Like, isn't that the one where most people renew?
Because that's when they launched the subscription.
The service, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's coming out in October right after that, and I guess they got to get people to re-up, and adding a mediocre 20-player online mode to Mario Party, I guess, is the way to do it. I will say, I'll give some credit to the Koopathlon mode, where you're collecting coins in various minigames to advance along a track. That one was decent, but then the Bowser mode, it's a co-op mode. 20 players are running around this map, punching crates to get bombs from the crates to load a cannon to shoot Bowser. It is really boring. That's it. And then you play some cooperative mini games in between each round once the timer runs out to earn power-ups to go back to the Bowser board. Like, you can drop boost pads on the ground to run faster to the crates that you then have to mash the punch button to open up. And it was just really boring. Yeah. And it took 15 minutes to do one game of this, and it felt way too long.
Oh my God.
Way too long. Yeah. No. But we had a blast in the rest of the demo, and then that's what it ended on. And you could just kind of tell that the vibe had been sucked out of the room a little
deflated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the game, fantastic. Just the board was awesome, and I loved just very expressive characters. Superstars is a gorgeous video game. This is maybe even better looking. It just looks great. It feels like Nintendo is treating Mario Party like the 10 million plus seller that it is and putting some more budget behind this. It looked awesome. It just looked really, really crisp. There's another steak minigame like in Super Mario Party, and the steak just looks amazing. Why is the steak look so good? But it does. And yeah, it's a great looking game. So I can't wait. I left very, very excited for October.
How many maps are in it? Is it 10?
7.
7. Okay, I don't know where I read 10.
Which
that's
is
not
good.
bad.
That's a good number.
Yeah, that's a good number.
There's 5 new ones and 2 returning ones. Yes. Yeah, it definitely did. And that was its biggest drawback was that you got 5 boards and some of them feel kind of similar. There's 2 boards that are very linear with the birthday cake and the Yoshi's Island. And then the Wispy Woods board and the Haunted board are also very similar kind of in how they play with these branching paths and choosing your direction. And some paths are closed at certain times. And so I always play the Spaceland is where I usually like to play. But I'm ready for some new stuff. So 7 will be a nice mix. And they all look very, very different from each other too.
Good.
So can't wait for Super Mario Party Jamboree. Maybe we'll try Boardroom online again and it will go hopefully a little bit better. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our main topic, which is what are the weirdest things Nintendo has done this generation? And if you follow video game industry news outside of Nintendo, you've surely been tracking everything that's been going wrong with PlayStation over the last couple of weeks. Concord was one of the biggest disasters maybe ever for a video game launch. You're talking Cyberpunk levels of disastrous in a very different way, though.
Yeah,
the game.
I was gonna say it wasn't exactly the same, but
just unprecedented AAA disaster, I think, is the label that you can put on this. If you don't know, Concord was listed for 2 weeks before there was almost nobody playing it, like 700 concurrents on Steam. So Sony pulled the plug. You cannot buy this game anymore. I walked into a Best Buy, saw it on the shelf, tried to buy it just to see if they would let me. They didn't. They weren't allowed to sell it to me anymore.
They didn't let you?
No, they didn't. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of that. What is it? I wonder what it's going for on eBay now.
Like $120.
Is it really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, I the thing that's a shame with this game, not to dig too deep into it, but it's the fact that I think a lot of Sony fans feel very burned by a lot of the decisions that are being made by management there, because they're like, all right, we're putting all of our eggs in the live service bucket, basically. We're pulling out of single player experiences. Like, we're just going to kind of rehash those games that you already had on the PS4. And yeah, we're putting all of our money here. They bought Bungie for this exact reason. I'm very worried about Marathon. I'm very worried about that studio, period. I don't know that they're going to make it. Yeah, I hope they can get it together, and I hope they start cranking out some single-player games, because the other thing that they did was the PS5 Pro reveal, and I don't really know of a reason for anybody that owns a PS5 to go get it. $700.
Yeah, crazy.
Doesn't include a disc drive. Disc drive's $80. The stand is $20. So it's $800.
That's what irks me the most, is that the plastic stand isn't included. I think that is atrocious, that is not bundled in. It is a piece of plastic. It is so ridiculous. Anyways, we're not here to complain, but this isn't the Astro boardroom. Astrobot, though, was a huge win in the middle of all this, by the way, though.
It's so good.
Yeah. Astrobot is cool. We'll talk about that maybe after this topic. But I wanted to kind of take this opportunity. Sony doing a lot of weird things. Nintendo, everybody says that they're winning right now. They've got it figured out. They've nailed it. Largely true. But there have been some weird things they've done in the Switch generation. And this isn't really the same as the what did they do right and wrong this generation, which is a recurring segment we've done a few times in the past several months. But this is more of a what was just out of left field. Nintendo is known for doing just really random, strange things no one could have seen coming. And I want us to each toss around a few picks for the weirdest things Nintendo's done this generation. Chris, what do you think?
The first one that comes to mind is just the Labo line in general.
Yeah,
and I don't even end it at I think it's Labo and Labo VR for me. It was in the age of all right, the Oculus is out, the PSVR is out or coming out, and then I want to say 9 months later they put out Labo VR, and it worked with Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and that might have been it. There might be a handful of other titles.
Smash Brothers had some weird VR
Did
thing.
it
Captain
really?
Toad. Yeah. Yeah,
Weird.
those two did too.
I never tried it.
Very
I have it. It's in a box behind me somewhere, but
did you ever build it and try it?
oh yeah, absolutely. It's
I
not
never
great.
did because I don't have it.
Yeah, it's not good. Like I did it. There's no strap for it. Like how are you supposed to you're supposed to stick this thing on your face, but like while laying down and then while holding a controller? Like the whole thing's weird. Like it was a cute idea, but it was like, here's what VR could be in Nintendo. And it's like, all right, you guys are never going to make this though. Like the hardware is just not there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the next Switch is all that. Like I doubt it, but
no way.
It won't be.
I hope not.
That'd be so funny. But yeah, it was just a very odd product.
You know what would have been the slam dunk? Not really. It would have been cool for people like us if they said, "Hey, and here's the Virtual Boy Switch Online app to play."
That's what I wanted them
games.
to do. Yeah, when they first put it out. And honestly, the best way to if you don't know this, the best way to play Virtual Boy games now is if you have a Quest 2 or a Quest 3.
Really cool.
It's like perfect on there. Like, and it doesn't like I have a Virtual Boy. Like I can't play it for more than 15, 20 minutes. Like the meme is real. It legitimately will give you a migraine. The Quest is not the case. It is not the case with the Quest.
Man, that sounds awesome. I have a friend with a Quest. I should borrow it.
You should.
Load
it's
up the
great.
Virtual Boy games.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds super cool. I've never played any of them, and I'd really like to.
Mario Clash is just like a cool take on traditional Mario Bros. And then there's a full Wario Land game on there that is like trapped on
awesome.
there. I mean, the other option
Wario Land,
is
I've been playing Pizza Tower, man. Oh my god,
it's real good.
Oh my god,
yeah.
You played it right on PC.
I played it on Steam. Yeah,
yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible. I am so obsessed with it. I love the movement so much. Nobody told me there was like shine sparking until someone in our Discord was talking about it. Like this is like a Metroid, and it feels like Sonic in some ways. It's crazy. It's so cool.
Yeah, they oh shoot,
did I freeze or did you?
My camera is my phone. And somebody called
I thought
me.
It was me.
Nope, it was me.
Okay.
My camera is my phone, and I just froze. I apologize for that. Doesn't it make you want a Wario game?
It does. Yeah. This and playing Anton Blast at PAX, which I talked about, and then playing Pizza Tower on Switch, they're both really good, but very different takes on it. Anton Blast is all about destruction and breaking as much as you can and scoring points that way.
Is that
Pizza
fun?
Tower is about...
I downloaded the demo for it. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing. It's really, really good. I wouldn't even know which to say is better between it and Pizza Tower. They're just very different. They're more different than they appear. And they're both really great takes on Wario Land. And yeah, that's a series that Nintendo needs to go back to.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I've got one to toss out here for the weirdest thing Nintendo's done this generation. And it's a little bit of a bummer because I thought of this idea for this topic several weeks ago. And then I was listening to the Asylum episode I wasn't on, and you guys brought this up because of a listener question. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is so weird.
It's so weird, dude.
It is insanely weird that this package...
You're okay. Keep going.
Getting a lot of behind the scenes.
Sorry.
Chris camera stuff here. You're good.
It's not working. It's fine.
This package of 3 3D Mario games you just can't buy anymore from Nintendo. They chose to stop making money on this, and I don't think that it benefited them in any way. I think that maybe they just thought this celebration thing was a cool idea. Hey, this is a limited time thing, and maybe that was it. But what about people who didn't have a Switch yet? I don't know. It's just such a bizarre decision.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was because they do a limited run Mario console during that. I don't think there was never a bundle. Like it wasn't.
There was a red Switch. There was a Mario Switch, but it wasn't even tied to that game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they never. It was never like at the same time. It didn't coincide. Like there was a red Mario Odyssey one. There was one for Mario Wonder, which was much later, obviously. Like, it didn't really make sense to me. And I get like Nintendo is a bit about the artificial demand, like hype train. Just like they know that people will go out and buy something just because it's in limited supply. And to some extent, like I bought 2 copies and I bought it digitally. Like I'm part of the problem. But it's it's a shame for is anybody, like you said, anybody that like, you know, especially if you have a young player, like if you have a kid that maybe they were 3 when that came out and now they're 5 and they played Super Mario Odyssey and they're like, wow, there's other Mario games, I want to play them. It's like, too bad you can't, because this game is now $120 or whatever on eBay.
But you can still play 64 on Switch Online, but not the other 2 anywhere. Yeah. Bizarre, because it is a great version of Super Mario Sunshine.
Yep.
I struggle with Galaxy a little more, and the way they had to adapt some of the Wii Remote stuff with the star bits, and especially in handheld mode. I'm really not a fan personally, but it's still that game's beautiful in HD, and they did almost nothing to it, and it rules. And they're just gone. Those versions of 2 mainline 3D Mario games are just gone, and that is crazy.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I'm very okay with Mario Galaxy in handheld mode. And I think I've said this on the show before too, but it's very similar to like mid-generation Vita experiences that I had, especially on the Switch Lite. Like that game feels really good handheld if you like kind of are used to that, like incorporating the touchscreen with like platforming gameplay. Because otherwise, like I can't stand the gyro in that game. It's the same problem I have with Skyward Sword. Like I think that port is great. But I have a problem with the motion controls there as well. Any of the Wii ports, you know, I kind of feel that way. But yeah, like the GameCube Sunshine port, they added analog trigger support for that if you have the Wii U adapter. Like it's the perfect port of that game for HD.
Yeah.
And it's supported by first party. Like Nintendo doesn't typically do that. Like the only other ones that we've really seen that were that good, Metroid Prime Trilogy is probably like the next one that comes to mind. Yeah, it was a weird time, or it was a weird decision for them to do that. I think the other side of it that's even weirder though is you didn't see, like we never saw it again. Like they did it with 3D All-Stars for Mario, and then we thought they would do it for other franchises, and then they just didn't. They were like, oh yeah, 30th anniversary of insert thing here, we're just going to ignore it and like do a...
Because Mario's all that matters, man. That's it. Mario and sometimes Zelda. That's all that they care about when it comes to celebrating anniversaries, and that's been a problem for a really long time.
Yeah, I think they need
Kirby
to
got that nice collection, but that's more a HAL thing than a
on
Nintendo
the Wii
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was on the Wii. Like,
it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Like, Iwata was still alive when they did that.
Yeah. But that's just the only other example I can think of them actually caring about an anniversary that's not Mario or Zelda.
Yeah.
In a distinct way. It was that Kirby collection. I really thought we were going to get a Kirby Game & Watch at some point to go with the Mario and Zelda ones. I thought that was a slam dunk. At some point they would just say, hey, we made this thing, but then never. And Kirby's Adventure, Dreamland 2, and ship it. I
wonder if those didn't sell as well as they thought they did. The Zelda one, you might still be able to get it. Like you were able to get it for a really long time. And if I were Nintendo looking at that, I feel like I'd be like, well, the Mario one sold. It was the first one we did, and then we did Zelda. They're kind of hanging out there. Like, are we really going to push a ton of Kirby units? Probably not.
Yeah. All right, Chris, what's your next pick for a weird thing Nintendo has done?
I want to say the rollout of just like Nintendo Switch Online games generally for me. Not even just like the games themselves, but like as a service. There's been a lot of decisions that they've made that like when they've happened, we've all just kind of been like, really? You have to be a Nintendo Switch Online member to be able to purchase any of the classic controller, like wireless Bluetooth controllers that are compatible with Switch. You can't buy that in any other fashion, even though there's like scores and scores of port compilations for Switch that you can buy, like Street Fighter and Mega Man, and like all these other collections. There's an the M for Mature 17 only app that only hosts Perfect Dark.
And one other thing.
There might be one other thing in it. I don't think it's Winback. I think there's one other.
There's
game
two
in there,
games in there though.
Yeah. I just remember laughing. Like, I think Perfect Dark was the first one. I could be wrong. But when it launched, there's only one game in it. And I just remember opening it and laughing. because I was like, this is such a waste of like an app icon.
Yeah, I hate those apps, by the way. I hate them. I hate that when they add a Japanese game and the box art's a different dimension, so you can't line it up all nice
They're all
anymore.
over the place.
Yeah.
You only get like the picture grid. You can't just like look at a list. I'm also used to like, the EverDrive and just reading everything and like a DOS prompt. So like, that's probably on me.
And then you'll have it nicely organized into this like 6x6 grid, and then it says there's something new to play, and it's this massive icon that takes up your entire screen. Why does it look like that? Yeah, I hate those apps.
They're all like different sizes, and it's weird. But then like there's things that whole platform does really well, like online support, which when it launched was pretty bad. And people were pretty upset about, and now it's like pretty great, and nobody talks about it. Like I feel like nobody ever uses it.
Yeah, we tried that one time. That was a good time.
It was great. We played Kirby and the Amazing Mirror.
Yeah, and some other random things. F-Zero X. I think it'd be fun to play like Mario Party 2 online that way. That would be cool. Really, really fun. Yeah, that is a really weird app. But then it's almost like it's not like you're really connecting your game with someone else. It's like we're connecting to the host's console and controlling it remotely. Is almost what it's like. It's weird.
It's the same thing that like Steam or even like RetroArch does. Like it's exactly what you said. Like, okay, Logan's hosting a session and I'm connecting in and just doing remote play to it. Like that's really all it's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, Switch Online, I really hope that they just carry over, because I can't start this library from scratch again. Just please make it the same. Yeah. Make it the same. Don't be... I'm not going to get excited when you drop A Link to the Past on Switch Online 2. I'm just not. Yeah. I'm not going to care. Yeah. And then some of their batches of games are just awful. They just have dropped some of the worst games.
Quest for Camelot on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah. Okay, I've got one I know we've talked to death, but I think it's worth bringing up because it's still strange to me. It's kind of related to the Switch Online thing. Just that first couple years of the Switch, Nintendo went all in on DLC. Breath of the Wild gets an expansion pack. Splatoon 2 gets an expansion pack. Eventually Mario Kart 8 gets DLC. All the Mario sports games get months and months and months of content updates. The mainline Pokemon games get DLC drops. Super Mario Odyssey. It's Luigi's Balloon World? What? That's so wild to me. And Tears of the Kingdom didn't get DLC, and that's fine. That came out at the end of the generation. They spent years on that game. They put everything in there that they wanted to. But you're telling, and that game was already kind of built on the foundation of Breath of the Wild. So DLC for a sequel already set in the same overworld, I could see why maybe they would want to stay away from that. But Mario Odyssey, and now Super Mario Brothers Wonder, nothing. Absolutely nothing for these games. Why is there not a Super Mario Brothers Wonder DLC challenge pack with harder levels and badge challenges and new kingdoms and new wonder effects, or even just remixed versions and levels of the wonder effects we already saw? It's crazy to me that the two mainline Mario games on Switch just got nothing.
I completely agree. I mean, there's so many games that, while you can look at them and say, like, wow, this is like such a feature complete package. Mario Wonder, I think is a great example. I mean, Mario Odyssey like has a ridiculous amount of content in it.
It does.
I have to imagine that the only reason they're doing that is because they said, it was like, okay, guys, you have like 3 months to add something like Luigi's Balloon World. And like they just wrote everything on a whiteboard with sticky notes, and then they threw a dart, and they were like, all right, that's what we're making in the course of 3 months, because that's realistic. Because otherwise, like, you know, at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, it seemed so obvious. It was like, well, we got a Galaxy 2 and Odyssey, such a big hit. Obviously, we're going to get an Odyssey 2, or they're going to add Luigi as DLC and then add a couple worlds in there. Like, I would have played the whole game again if they did that. None of that happened. I think it comes down to the teams that are making these games and just where their focuses lie. Like where do you need to allocate those resources to, like in terms of development? Like, would I have loved for them to spend another year making more content for Odyssey or I almost said Pikmin 4, but like that game has so much in it.
I didn't get anything either, but that game's huge.
That game's huge. And that's the other thing. Like, some of them are just massive. But then you have games like, the thing I don't get is, like, I'm totally rambling. The Xenoblade games. I feel like those games got DLC for like a year. Like every iteration of them that came out, like a ridiculous amount of content. I don't know how they're able to do that. Like, the games are already massive. I guess it's just because, like, Mario games and things like that are more focused. Like, it's more of a, like, you know, there has to be a shine to it. I wish we had gotten it, but it does. It seems like they left a lot of things on the table, and it seems like they took a lot of, like, easy wins. Like the sports titles, I was like, yeah, throw some characters in there, like, whatever. It did feel a little cheap at times, though, because of that. Like the DLC.
Because in the sports game specifically, it felt like they piecemealed stuff later that should have been there. Yeah. Should have been there at launch. Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Like golf got a bunch of courses post-launch, and tennis got a bunch of characters and an epilogue to its adventure mode and a bunch of stuff post-launch. That Kirby Star Allies is a huge culprit, I think, of it had stuff that it's a super complete Kirby game now. At launch, it was pretty thin, and they just added all that stuff in later. And we talked about that in a previous episode already, but that was weird. But Odyssey, just give me like 2 kingdoms. I'd pay $30 for 2 new kingdoms that have 60 moons each. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah. And I guess we kind of got that with Bowser's Fury. You could pretty much call that Odyssey DLC in the 3D World engine. It's an Odyssey kingdom. It totally is.
But it's a 3D world. It's built on the bones of 3D World. Like, it's not. It's not an Odyssey game. You know.
Yeah. Also, something I was thinking about though. Great game.
Yeah.
3D World had a lot of changes and work done to it in the Switch port. That is one of the Switch ports with the most changes, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they went to work on right after Odyssey, and then now they've been cooking up whatever we're going to see for the next system, which, by the way, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what that thing is going to look like. I think it's going to blow us away, because they always do, and they've been cooking it for so long, and I'm playing Astrobot, and my main takeaway from Astrobot is I wish Nintendo had this powerful hardware to work on.
That was the first thing I said to Jess when we turned it on. Yeah. I'm tired of... It doesn't even need to be PS5 level graphics. It'd be amazing PS4. If it were. It could be PS4. I'd be happy with that. Be more than happy with that. But we just haven't seen it. And it kind of stinks. Like, I feel like it's been long enough that I'm waiting. Like, I'm ready, you know?
Maybe we'll see a glimpse of it in the next month or so, if we're lucky. Yeah. Got any more for us, Chris? Weird things Nintendo's done?
Oh, man. Just to go off of the back of the Mario 3D All-Stars thing. Yeah. Just any of the limited run applications that they put out. Super Mario 35. Jump rope challenge, taking it away, and then be like, just kidding, this is actually really good to get back. People physically fit. It's back. Like, why are we even playing the song and dance? Like, just leave it. It costs you nothing.
I dread the day they say F-Zero 99 is done.
Yep.
It's going to happen, and that is going to break my heart.
You know what, though?
Game rules.
Tetris 99 is still going.
It's still cooking.
And it's the only version of that game that's out there, is the one on Switch.
Yeah. That's true. And that got a weird physical release. No cartridge, but a box that you could put on your shelf for it. Which is super strange. That's another weird thing they did. Yeah. So those are just some of the weird things Nintendo's done this generation. We're probably missing some. If you have any ideas, email us, toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com, or give us a shout on Twitter @toadstoolbr. But we should move on and talk about the Splatoon 3 Grand Festival, which kicks off the day this episode goes up, Thursday, September 12th. It starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, and it runs all the way until Sunday, September 15th at 5 p.m. Pacific. 72 hours of Splatfest. It's the longest one ever. And I love Splatoon so much. It's so hilarious to me, just how much effort they put into building this world. This is a quote from their press release. This is directly from Nintendo. They said this: the Grand Festival kicks off with performances from all three Splatoon groups, Squid Sisters, Off the Hook, and Deep Cut, as they rotate between three distinct stages. Rumor has it that the scaffolding in front of the giant clam stage will be a great vantage point for taking pics. They will then form one mega group, the Now or Never 7, for a performance of their newest single, 3 Wishes, during the final 24 hours of the Splatfest. All festival long, players can get into the rhythm and express themselves with exclusive emotes as well. They just have built this entire universe and they just roll with it as if it's a real thing. And I just adore that. I think it's so cool and clever.
I like to imagine there's like 6 people at like this studio that like they've been in it for so long that they like think they're like, the Splatfest is this week, and they're like that into it.
Yeah. I think so. I think that they genuinely care, and to the point where the Splatoon Twitter account, which is one of the best follows you can make if you're a Nintendo fan, it's so good. They've been posting art this week for all 3 of the teams, for past, present, and future, for the Squid Sisters, Off the Hook, and Deep Cut, who are representing those 3 teams. And the first day was Team Pass, which is the Squid Sisters, and it shows them on a train like heading to the Grand Festival. And people in the comments who are way deeper into this than I am. I'm a pretty surface level Splatoon lore fan. I'm not in the ink like some of these people are. And there's people freaking out in the comments, Chris, saying things like, that's the same suitcase from the Splatoon 1 final Splatfest art. They have the same luggage that they're taking to the Grand Festival. That's just crazy.
That's so impressive that they know that.
1, that Nintendo is doing that, and 2, that there's people out there that are noticing it. This is like From Software levels of deep in terms of just the references and stuff in this concept art that's not even in the game. It's crazy, and it's cool, and I'm not that invested in the fandom. I don't think I'm that invested in any fandom, unless you count like general Nintendo, but it's crazy, and it's awesome, and I can't wait for it. And it's like, you can, if you reach this level, you can go take selfies with the idols, like meet the celebrities. And they're selling the wristbands that you can wear on the weekend of the Splatfest.
Like on the Nintendo website, like a physical wristband, you can buy one.
This thing right here, I got one. I got mine. I'm ready to go. It's awesome. It's so cool. This is like concert festival wristband you can wear when you're playing the Splatfest. It's the same thing your character wears. Like, they're just going all out for this. And it's bigger than anything they've done before for Splatoon. And they've had big events before, like this, what was it called? The Splat Apocalypse or something like that for Splatoon 2. They've done this stuff before, but this one is just really big, and I love how much they're going all out with it.
What would be really cool is if this would be like for a future Splatoon thing. Did you ever go to any of the concerts where they give you the wristband and like all the colors change? Like Coldplay concerts do that, and Taylor Swift. And, if that like Nintendo Live, they did that for like, one of the Splatoon concerts. Cool. Yeah. And then like you got to keep it or whatever. I don't know. When you held that up, I thought like, well, how could you do that while you're playing the game where it's like in sync with what's happening? But that'd be a lot.
I don't know if I could see it if you had like an LED wristband and it was NFC, like an amiibo, and you scanned it and it knew which color team you were playing for. That and it lit up in that color. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Are you jumping into the Grand Festival, Shriver?
I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, this weekend I'm not going to be able to. I'm
dang.
Yeah, single downing it up this weekend.
I'm
still with my wife.
Have him on your lap and play some Splatoon.
She's not going to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good clarification.
Just had to clarify that real quick.
Yeah. Did you get the new Splatoon 3 amiibo they dropped for this Splatfest?
I didn't. I thought about it. I'm at a point with, especially the Splatoon amiibo, it's like, we already have a George. Like, I have those amiibo in other flavors. I don't need them. I don't play Splatoon that much. I respect that they exist.
I got them. They rolled in the other day. They're very nice. They're very, very nice. I don't like the idols that much. I'm not super big fan of them. Just not super my style. So I don't. But they're fine. I really like the new ones for Pearl and Marina because they're based off.
They were the ones I was. DLC. If I was going to get one, they were the ones I was going to get. I had them in my cart at one point, and I was like, I don't need these. And then I took them.
You do?
Yep.
Good. You can maybe see them. They're on the 3rd shelf behind me, but that's a lot of amiibo to look at. Yeah, but they're back there somewhere. See if you can spot them. Can't wait though. Hopefully to see you out there. I'll be on Team Present. So, Team Past. I'm Team Past. So if you're on Team Past, I will hopefully see you out there on my team at some point. Super excited for the Grand Festival. We'll talk all about it next week because I say a million times, because it's the coolest thing ever. Whoever wins will have an impact on Splatoon 4 story mode, its setting. Really cool. Can't wait for it. Let's wrap up the show here with one EGADS email. You can always email the show, toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com. And this one comes from Will, who says, I'm Will from Idaho. I'm a long-time first time. What would you say are the key factors to Nintendo's sustained success as a video game company over the past 50 years? Each of you give me your boardroom level perspective. They've definitely made some pretty big mistakes over the years, yet they find themselves in a season of triumph. Why do you think that is when on paper they seem to lack in many ways? Chris, what do you think?
I mean, there's a lot that they do really well. I think we talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago, but the fact that so many of their IP were established on the original Nintendo, and then they've just have managed to continue to iterate upon it. I think it means a lot, because I think they realized at a very early stage that nostalgia carries a heavy weight for a lot of people. I think they also know the value of taking time on their games. And they did that in a time where like people were just cranking out games to make money, like during the video game crash in the 80s. Like they're the reason that video games survived during it. Yeah, I think it's just the fact that they are they've become very careful about what it is that they're going to put out into the world, how they're going to message that, how they want that communication to happen directly to you.
Very nice.
They've made a lot of the right moves that have kind of like, I don't know. They had like enough failures during the Wii U life cycle, but had enough wins prior to that they were able to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, what worked during the Wii era and Super Nintendo era, and like kind of piece all that together, and how do you make that exist in an internet modern age? And play on people's nostalgia. And I think it's worked out really well for them. More than probably any other company. They also like to really stick to their guns in terms of like not needing to be the latest and greatest hardware. Like the fact that they sell their hardware at a net profit is huge for them. Like most other video game companies are not doing that. Yeah, there's a lot that plays into that, I think.
Yeah, you just hit the main one I wanted to talk about, which we've been talking about a lot lately, like episode 100 when we talked about Gunpei Yokoi and that quote he had about basically taking advantage of current technology rather than having to be on the cutting edge. And they still do that. And I think when I look across the industry, which is floundering in so many ways, and Nintendo has it figured out, because they stay within their means on the hardware front. And they are developing for hardware that doesn't take, I don't know, $200 million to make a game. Zelda probably did, but it made it back in within a weekend because they knew it would, because they invested that much into it. Like something like Concord, that was a huge, huge loss because it was just so misguided. And when it was greenlit and it was chasing trends, and Nintendo at their best doesn't chase trends, they kind of set them. And I think that is something else that's very huge. I think that Nintendo is... my favorite thing when I learn deeper things about Nintendo development history is just where they get their inspiration from. Like we talked about on episode 100, them going to this samurai play to get inspiration for 3D combat, or the way Miyamoto's just inspired by childhood adventures, the story people say a million times. But I feel like so much of the industry is inspired by Nintendo games, and Nintendo is inspired by these amazing real world things. And I think that's so cool. And it just allows them to iterate and be so creative and always have fresh ideas. And they always put the fun first rather than the technology first, or the hardware first, or the battle pass first. And I just think that resonates with people. It does. Astrobot right now, people are saying it's like a Nintendo game. That's why people like it so much, is because Sony took a lot of pages out of Nintendo's playbook for that game. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I think people should take inspiration from the best to do it because they're the best for a reason, right? So I think that you're going to see a lot of the industry, I think, start to maybe copy a lot of things Nintendo does. I think that Sony's talking about focusing on families. That's what Nintendo's been doing for ages, and it makes sense, and it's how you build these lifelong fans like us who like other games, play other games, but will always play Nintendo stuff because that foundation is there. And I think that Sony's starting to figure that's important too, is you got to get new fans in. And you can't just do that by making Last of Us and God of War and Horizon. You need to make Astrobots and Sackboys and Ratchet and Clanks. And I think they're learning that. And Nintendo's always known that.
It's kind of crazy to me that Sony's like just kind of figuring that out. What's different now too is like architecturally, we're in a very different space and have been since the PS4, Xbox One X, or Xbox One, all those launched, like, because they are PC equivalent consoles, more or less. Like they're like, I won't go into specifics, but they're more like a PC than video game consoles ever had before. And what that means in terms of legacy and backward compatibility, like if you look at the PS5, like the only reason Switch is able to do it now is because they build out the emulation platform. But like, if you look at what the PS5 and the Series X are able to do with their legacy of games, they're able to boost like the performance of what was already running. It's still the same architecture. So like, it's just what you had before and then some. Nintendo hasn't been in that position yet. Like first they were 8-bit, 16-bit, 64-bit. Like the architecture that they were always chasing the next thing. And then when they finally got to the GameCube, it was like, all right, now we're on this Power PC architecture. And it was the same architecture really for the Wii and Wii U. It really didn't change much. Now they're at a point where I think they're like, okay, we're probably going to live in NVIDIA for a while. It's not like they're going anywhere. And they can kind of follow that same cadence. Cause like, I think what Nintendo is seeing from the other, like they need to learn from each other. Like Nintendo can learn from Sony and Xbox, where it's like, wow, people really do care about this digital library that you can kind of carry with you over 10, 20, 30 years. As a lot of us have. And then PlayStation and Xbox need to be able to say, wow, we have all these IP that are just sitting on the shelf. And there's a reason people care about them and have been screaming about why they want their new Banjo-Kazooie and Crash Bandicoot and all that. Like, it's because people care. And even though they're not the biggest...
Sorry to interrupt, but hasn't Astrobot just made that almost uncomfortably clear how little of its IP PlayStation uses? They use almost nothing.
Yeah, like so much. I feel like that entire game, or a lot of that game, is like... it's almost like it's a very melancholic experience. Like if
it's a graveyard.
If you're a PlayStation fan, like it's like, wow, remember all these games that you used to love to play? We don't have new ones for you. But remember how it made you feel? Like that's what Astrobot kind of feels like to play for me. To the point where like the PS3's hooked up to the CRT now. Like I'm playing old games again because of it. And
you're always playing old games.
I am, but not from that generation. Like it's like I was playing Killzone the other day. Like it's bringing back a lot of like that kind of feeling. And it's like, well, I don't have any other option. And I've gone through this, over the years, but it just like it sucks. Like it sucks to be a Sony fan. It sucks to be an Xbox fan right now because it's like, well, you want them to make new IP, but they're trying to sell to everybody. And Nintendo is like, we're just going to make what we think feels good to play. We're basing it off of our previous experience and what we think people will enjoy. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Like, I think a big part of the problem of the industry at this point is like, everyone's taking it so damn seriously. Pardon my French, but like, come on. Like, Astro is fun because it's just fun to play. Like, it's the most video game that's come out in a long time. And non-Nintendo, but like there's a reason people like Nintendo games. It's like, yeah, because it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be fun. Like it's all right. Just have fun with it. I don't know.
And it's very fun. It's such a great game. It's awesome. I want to see more stuff like that out of Sony, more Nintendo-like stuff. It's been super fun. Yeah. Anything else on this or is that a wrap?
I think you had another question for me that I've been sitting on for quite some time in our Discord.
Do you like Conker's Bad Fur Day?
I have an interesting relationship with Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think. I haven't played it since I was like 14 years old. So I think as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid, like I loved that game. And the Live and Reloaded remake on Xbox is phenomenal. The online was incredible for it when it was on Xbox Live. I think if I played it now as a 31-year-old man, I'd find some of it funny, but I think it's like some of it's so inappropriate. And like such potty humor that like, yeah, this is made for like a younger person. And some of the references are so old, like they're so 90s that I'd be like, I don't know about this, guys. But I mean, I enjoyed it when I played it. I'd be interested to see what I feel about it now. I don't know what the basis of that question was, though. I just know that we got it.
That one came from my sister, actually, who listens to the show, and she is a huge banjo fan and played Conquer and liked it and wanted to know if you like Conquer, because I don't think you've ever talked about it on the show.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it hasn't really come up. No, I mean, I think it's like one of the last great Rare games that we've got, period.
Hey, Viva Pinata exists.
Viva Pinata is incredible. I have every achievement for it on 360. Nice. Yeah, Conquer, I've wanted to go back and play that one. I just haven't. At the time, I really enjoyed it, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, I was just thinking about platformers a lot because of Astro and just how few great 3D platformers there are that don't star Mario. There's not that many.
There's that
really
many.
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the first 3 Crash games are very good. I have not played Crash 4, so I can't speak to that one.
It's
I
hard.
think it looks great. Yeah, I do like that, so maybe I would like them. But I just haven't liked the camera angles and stuff of the Insane trilogy that I've played. I love the Spyro trilogy. I think that trilogy
that's what
awesome.
I was going to say. Spyro trilogy is incredible. I would say 50% of the Ratchet games are very good.
But that's less to me at least. That's more action.
That's a third-person shooter more than a platformer.
Like if you call Splatoon a platformer, like nah, not really.
Yeah, I never stuck to Jak and Daxter. I've tried many times. Sly Cooper, I like stealth games. I never really stuck with those either. Like I've tried them many times. Mainly the first one. I'm always like, I'm going to play them all, and then I play the first one like for 3 hours. I'm like, yeah. There.
Played Psychonauts 1 and 2.
I played 1. I didn't care for it.
Okay. I think it was too.
I think it was too old by the time I played it. 2 does some really cool stuff for the videos I've seen. That's another one though I started and I didn't stick with it. Shoot, there was another one I was going to bring up.
I think the most underrated game of the generation is Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I think that game is amazing.
Well, it's a Mario 3D World clone. Like, of course it's great.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's excellent.
So great.
Yeah.
I love it.
David
100%
Bowie's in
of
that
that game. Yeah, there's like, the music levels are so good.
Yeah.
They're better than the Rayman Legends music levels. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people just love to talk about Astro's Playroom, which I really, really love too. But to me, the star of that launch was Sackboy, and I feel like nobody champions that game. And I thought it was so amazing. That
game's incredible. I've been waiting for that game to hit $20 since it made its way to Steam, so I can have a reason to buy it and play it again. I feel weird about playing it again on PS5. I don't know why. I don't know. Like I already own it there, but like it gives me something to chase. Like I already did everything on the PS5 one. Now I can do it all over again on Steam. Just gives me. I think it's trophies. I honestly think that's the only reason. Like my brain is wired that way now. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom was the other one I was going to say, but that's basically a Mario clone, and I don't think it's aged well. I think at the time I thought it was really good, but now not so much. It's probably the closest one. I know Cosmic Shape is in Humble Bundle this month. I haven't played that yet.
Okay. Cool. And there's that Patrick Star game coming out this year.
That is also coming out this year. That'll be on Switch. Yeah, I don't know.
There's Super Lucky's Tale, which
that was the one I was going to bring up.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So that game sucks. That game's real bad. Yeah, I hate that game. And I hate what I hate
Even the
about
new
that
version?
Game. Yeah, it's terrible. And every time that game comes up, everyone's like, oh man, it's so nice to be able to have this 3D platformer that's like so good. No, it's not good. It's too simple. It's slow. It doesn't control well. Like I have so many problems with that game, and everybody's just like, I think it's just because it's like no pizza is bad pizza. I think is like, or like any pizza is not bad pizza. Like I think that's how people kind of treat it. And it's like, no, you can say that a 3D platformer is bad just because it's there doesn't mean you have to like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same with Ukulele. That game, I've gone on so many rants about that game, but that game's bad too. I hope the remake's
What about Hat in Time? Have you played that? That's what people love.
I have played that. I've also not stuck with that.
Okay.
That, by all accounts, that game should be completely up my alley. And there's something about it that just doesn't feel quite right. It's like, am I playing a Wind Waker clone? Am I playing a Banjo clone? A Mario 64 clone? Like, what is it? I don't get it. I don't like it.
But it's just, I feel like one of the reasons Astro is getting such good reception is because there's just so little else out there that's not Mario. So a great, competent 3D platformer arrives on the scene and everyone immediately says, this is as good as Mario. I don't think it is. I think it's amazing, but it's not.
I think that's what I said to you before the show started. It is the knee-jerk reaction to say that, but there's
we didn't mention Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That's a great game. It's fine.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That game, you've said it better than anyone I know, is that game shows its entire hand in the first hour. And then you're just doing the same things over and over again. And then it gets, then it turns into Dark Souls for some reason. Yeah. Like the end of it's insane. But the whole rest of that game is kind of like, meh, meh, meh.
So I can't believe we've gotten this far into a 3D platformer discussion, and I didn't mention Sonic Frontiers yet. That game slaps, and I will stand by it forever.
Yeah. That game is great at like just sucking time out of your life and you not realizing it. The one I do want to bring up, and this is probably next to Astro, this is probably the best 3D platformer that I've played since Mario Odyssey, and that's Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, and it's only on Steam.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
that game's great. It controls very, like at first you think like you're kind of fighting with the controls because you're trying to figure out how it works. It's meant to be like a N64 style platformer, and then you realize like how to jump and how to do boosts after a jump, and it plays very differently than anything you've ever really played before. But it gets really addictive.
Yeah, I gotta check that one out.
Yeah,
that's one I'll play when it comes to Switch in 4 years or however long.
I hope it does. Like Switch players deserve to play that game. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a fun 3D platformer tangent. There needs to be more great 3D platformers. There really does. It's an awesome genre. It's super fun. Oh, Demon Turf. I really like that game too.
I was just looking at that one. I haven't played it yet.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. Yeah,
nice.
The Neon Splash, I think it's called, the kind of shorter sequel they made is much better than the original, but that's a good game. But we gotta go. That's another episode of the Toadstool Boardroom in the books. We're a weekly Nintendo show here on Thursdays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, video version on YouTube, audio, wherever else you like to listen to your show. You can find the show on Twitter at ToadstoolBR. Send us an email, toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com. Join our Discord server, link in every episode. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me at Shrives93. All over the internet. I don't care. Anywhere you want. You can find me on Twitter at Logan J. Plant. I just wrote a preview about Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, which I loved. I loved the hour and a half I played it. It's awesome. I cannot wait for that game. So please go check that out. And also, I put up a tweet about Mario Wonder where I just said, say something nice about this game, because that game has been getting hate this week because of Astrobot. And everyone's like, this is so much better than Mario Wonder. Why is that even... Yeah, why are we comparing them? I have no idea. That's so stupid.
I also disagree. I think Mario Wonder is better, but that's a conversation for another day. I think I'm the biggest fan of that game that there is. So yeah, go share something nice about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Justin responded, the troll he is, my friend Logan really likes it, was his response. Classic. Thanks, Justin. You can find him on Twitter at KOREIS. Thanks so much for listening. But for now, that's all the time I got. I got to get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS. Have a great week. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you next time right here in the Toadstool Boardroom.